Hey there, Larry Kirshner back again for another classic Hauntworld video. But make sure you first like and subscribe this page because we're going to upload hundreds, maybe even millions of classic haunted house how-tos and tours through haunted houses. And very soon we're going to start getting into some current haunted houses and a whole lot more. So make sure you like and subscribe to our page right now. This video takes the cake. It's called Dr. John's. It's like a haunted house guide to haunted houses. And it's the very first VHS how to haunt video ever made. And I believe it was sold through the Morris catalog. And then later, Phil Morris did a haunted house book himself. I actually have a copy of that up in the Darkness Horror Museum. It's in a display case. If you don't have a copy of that, you should get it. But this was the very first VHS how-to, and I believe it was made in the 80s. The very first haunted house seminars or how-to books or anything came from the JCs. They started figuring out that you could make money through haunted houses. They started making books. They started going to JC conventions, selling the books and giving conventions, teaching JCs how to do haunted houses. And later it kind of sort of evolved away from charity to more a for-profit haunted house. And the first person to ever make a video to show you how to do it was Dr. John. This video is a real time capsule going back to the late 1980s. Yes, it's outdated, but remember, it was made in the 1980s. It gives you a really good idea of where things might have been way back then and where they are today. And when you start watching all of our Hauntworld movies that we're going to upload, and we're going to upload some of John Denley's videos and Rich Hamp's videos and so on and so forth, you're really going to start to see how the haunted house industry just climbed like Mount Everest. And then did it get to its peak? You know, obviously that's where we'd be today. So here we go. You're really going to need some wine, some beer, maybe a couple shots, and definitely some popcorn for this one, because here we go. Dr. John's Guide to Haunted Houses, made somewhere in the 1980s, originally sold through the Morris catalog. Here we go.
Go after the gates of hell, and you shall not return. Your soul belongs to me, and I, the Prince of Darkness, shall reap my reward.
Hello, I'm Dr. John. I'll be your host throughout our trip through this haunted house. The purpose of this movie is to help you put on a successful haunted house and to improve haunted houses everywhere. The local media from time to time, they rate haunted houses. They usually send out a couple reporters and they usually publish the results. Here's a television example.
Well, Sam, that's the cellar. Scary.
The scariest yet. It scared me. It scared me.
It's rated best in the Metroplex.
Yes.
You definitely know why when you come out, and the address is
2408 East Belknap. Do not miss this one. The special effects in here are absolutely fantastic, amazing. I think Steven Spielberg has got some competition. What do you think, guy?
A good report means a lot more money for your organization. This is why you should make your haunted house truly special. If you follow the instructions given and add your own special touches, you're sure to be rated the best also. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pencil so you can take notes on what you're about to see. I'm going to personally guide you through a haunted house. I'm not suggesting, however, that you build your haunted house identical to mine, but I want to give you plenty of ideas to work with. The combination of effects that you're about to see are from different haunted houses across the country. I'm going to give you a little background on how we set up our haunted house in order to show you some of the fundamentals of being successful. We found an old warehouse close to an expressway with ample parking for over 200 cars. It was a plain white building, but it had some spooky qualities. The first step was how to make it look like a haunted house. So we put a big orange and black banner across the top of it saying haunted house. We also included the dates we were opening. This gave us plenty of early advertising. At night, we wanted to show it off to the people driving by on the expressway. So we ran a string of Christmas tree lights circling the top of the building. This made it look like fun. We also put a billboard up with the name of our haunted house on it, made of plywood. In the center of the plywood, we cut out some evil-looking eyes and put white cloth behind it and a strobe light behind it shining through so it looked like those eyes were gazing at those people driving down the highway. This really got their attention. We also put together a graveyard that was visible both to the people driving down the highway and the people that would be standing in our lines. Each tombstone had an interesting inscription on it. At the entrance of the haunted house, we mounted a TV monitor that told the evil story of the haunted house, and it went like this.
Welcome to Dr. John's cellar. It is so evil for you to be here tonight. We want to apologize for the condition of the building. It's old. And if something runs across your feet, just kick it out of the way or step over it. Dr. John has spent the last 2 years traveling all over the country, searching for the talent you're about to see tonight. Now the patients, the people with the pink wristbands on came from private mental institutions, and the people with the white wristbands on, they came from state mental institutions. Now don't say nothing to them because, well, they have their problems and we are working on them. But they already have had their medication. These people are not professional actors. They are just from these institutions trying to make some Christmas money. You know, it's kind of like Hire the Handicapped. We are trying to raise some funds for the criminally insane. Now you may have read about these people in your newspapers, but don't worry. As you go through the haunted house, don't hit anybody. If there is any trouble, we have police at the front door and police at the back door. But these fine people have had their medications of their Thorazine and Librium. So even though they have their problems, please bear with us.
We also mounted speakers at the entrance to play haunted house sounds. The spookier the better. Tapes like this can be picked up at costume shops or anywhere that sells Halloween supplies. These tapes have scary sound, and they create the thoughts of the evil that lurks within your haunted house. All outside workers should wear authentic makeup and costumes so the people will know they're getting their money's worth inside. However, these are usually more of the fun type characters. to keep the lines amused. When you use volunteers, you must stress the importance of a well-polished show. The people you see in this movie are not professional actors. They're here to set a standard of what to expect from your volunteers. We posted our rules at the door. Most important, enter at your own risk. No smoking, and do not touch the monsters, etc., etc. And your monster should be instructed never touch a customer. The guide who met them at the entrance would bring in 6 to 8 people. As they were surrounded by darkness, he would tell them get real close together.
Get in here. All right, I want you to stay real close together. I don't want nobody getting lost. Last people that got lost, we never did find. Now get real close together. Hold hands, yeah. Real tight. Are you real close together? Get closer together. Can you still breathe? Get closer together. All right, now stay real close to me and don't get lost. Okay? Bye.
And he would run off and leave them. The reason for this is start them off having fun. Now we have a half a dozen people bumping into each other, feeling their way down long, narrow hallways. Teenage girls hanging on to their boyfriends for security. Spiderwebs rubbing across their faces as they grope their way through the darkness. As they go through the maze, their guide is hidden in a secret closet with a microphone and sounds the announcement of visitors. He also disguises his voice to beef up the show. You may have 2 different messages to warn the monsters of what to expect. One message for adult audiences and one for children.
Arise, my children of the night. We have guests, lost souls in search of the unexpected. Children who have lost their way. They now belong to us. How many shall survive? Their fate is in your hand.
In our haunted house, the audience went through a long maze, going back and forth, up and down hills, making use of an existing ramp going into the warehouse. As they come to the end of the maze, there's a shadow of a human figure waiting for them. Nobody wants to go any closer. As they get right up to the voice, it says,
Welcome. I'm Father Callahan. Come in, you're just in time. The services are about to begin. Have a seat.
The crowd sits in the chairs in front of the coffin with flowers all around it. You may wish to spray floral air freshener around for authenticity. The priest starts his eulogy.
Young Billy Jones got lost in this haunted house 1 year ago today. They say he went crazy trying to find his way out. Let's rise and view his remains.
As they approach the coffin, the priest says,
Fear has a way of aging us. He was only 18.
They see an old man in the coffin.
But it won't explain why there was not one drop of blood in his veins.
At this time, the most predictable thing to happen would be for to have that corpse rise up. Let's not be predictable. Let's dress it up a bit. Let's hit him with a blast of cold air from the front, supplied by an airline, operated by the priest at precisely the right moment. At the same time, a door slams open, and a voice says, Walk this way. Timing is very important. You must hit them from both sides for maximum effect. You can also play organ music in the background throughout the entire ceremonies. The person who slammed the door open was dressed as a lowly beggar, clothed in rags, missing one leg and his head twisted on his shoulders. The beggar leads the crowd to the operating room, where the mad doctor is about to perform one of his most gruesome operations. The beggar says,
The doctor is truly a fine surgeon. He made me the man I am today.
The beggar then should stand behind the crowd to make them feel uncomfortable. A young woman is laid out on a table, draped in bloody sheets. She is missing one arm and both legs. All that is left are bloody stumps. He then says, let's take out her brain. He takes a little knife and cuts across her forehead, peels the skin back and exposes her brain as a patient begs for mercy. The amputated arm and legs are created by cutting holes in the table and sticking the arm and legs through them. Then makeup is used to create the gore on her arm. Extra padding is added to her lower section to continue the lines of her body. Blue or red lighting is recommended for this effect. The guide then takes them down a long hallway to what is known as his classic spirit method. As the audience views a beautiful young girl in an upright coffin, the guide explains.
This girl has been dead for over 500 years. This girl is evil. She comes back alive, and never is she beautiful then. Watch as she returns to her natural state.
This is what we call the classic spirit method. First, we build an L-shaped box with an opening down here for the audience to view. Here we put a 4x8 sheet of plexiglass at a 45-degree angle. Here we put lights, 2 separate rows of lights connected to 2 separate dimmer switches. We took the dimmer switches and we put them knob to knob so the girl in the coffin could roll those switches and bring the light up on one side and down on the other to create the effect on that sheet of glass. The box dimensions we recommend are 6 feet across the front, 6 feet across this long side, 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, and 3 feet. You can change these dimensions, however they must be changed equally. The guide now sends a crowd on their way down a lonely passageway, which again turns out to be a maze. I highly recommend putting at least one turn between each effect if possible. However, every few turns there should be a maze to keep one group from running into another. A maze is used to disorientate your guests. It is also a place where the girls hang on real tight to their boyfriends. I recommend hanging fishing lines from the ceiling to give that feeling of spider webs brushing across their face. This maze, we placed a maze control box manned by one person who gets them from 4 different directions. On one side as they walk through the maze, she would blast them with an air hose. And then when they turned the corner in a tighter hallway, she would whisper in their ear.
Be careful. They're gonna get you.
The next time, as they passed by the control box, she would hit the side of the wall with a big rubber mallet. Boy, that made them jump. And just before they left the maze, she would blast them with an air horn attached to an opposite wall just in case they were expecting something. Remember, lighting is very important in most types of productions, but darkness is essential in a haunted house. If the light bleeds over from one effect to the next, turn it off when the audience has moved on. However, you should have a light in your maze in case of an emergency. You may also paint exit arrows, visible only when the lights are turned on in case of that event. We are met here by a guide. He is wearing a straitjacket, and you know he's not all there. He says,
"Oh boy, I have visitors. People don't come to see me since I stopped paying my lawyers. Come on in. Don't mind the guy down the hall. He never talks to anybody. I think he's crazy. His name is Jason."
people never stay long at this place. They take off quickly down the hall. As you might have guessed, there was a mirror set in the corner with an entrance built around it. The light was on Jason, so it looked like he was hiding down the hallway. A strobe light is very effective in this effect. Now they manage to get away from Jason, and they feel safe. They're met by a lovely enchantress of the night, and she says,
"Step up, my Marie will tell you about things to come."
They see a gypsy fortune teller leaning over her crystal ball. She's reading tarot cards. She looks up and says,
Good evening. You have come for a reading. Gather round, I will tell your future. The cards say, you will have fame and fortune beyond your wildest dreams. And you, oh yes, young lady, you will marry a rich man.
yes, for the big tough guys that aren't afraid of anything, they're saying, oh wow, but not for long. This is the one that always gets them. In the ceiling, we placed a dummy that swings down head first at the crowd. But that's not the scary part. This dummy is on hinges, and his weight is so heavy that when the fortune teller pulls the string, it hits a board so hard it seems like the ceiling's coming down on top of them. Yes, these big tough guys have their hands over their heads. Yeah, they've blown their cool, and now it's time for them to have fun.
But you will die tonight!
Please, this way!
A good way to end almost any effect is to turn the lights out. Remember this, otherwise you'll have your monsters standing around without anything left to scare the audience. Now the crowd hears an awful wailing coming from a voice ahead. As they get closer, the guide stops them and says,
Don't come any closer. It's not a pretty sight.
I don't want a body, doctor. Anybody, please. Doctor, it's getting harder to breathe. Please, doctor.
they see a head sitting on a tray of blood on a table, and there's no body underneath it. Now you ask, how was this done? Why was there no body under the table? Was it behind the curtain? The truth is the body was under the table. You couldn't see it, however, because we inserted mirrors between the front legs of the table. When we did this, all you could see was the reflection of the room around it. And if the room has matching surroundings, both on the floors and the walls, it'll create the effect that you are seeing right through it. We also added a small amplifier with a reverb to add special sound. The guide then leads them around the corner and says, if you care to spend the night, we have excellent accommodations. Each room has its own private bath with shower. Step up and check in to the Bates Motel. What really makes this effect work is a strobe light and siren that are positioned right above the audience's head. They knew what was going to happen, but when the strobe light and siren went off, it distracted them, and Norman seemed to appear from nowhere. We now come to Dr. John's life support unit. On a table is a girl being kept alive by machines. The nurse tells them,
She was the victim of a terrible accident. She lost her hand and her head. We are waiting for a female donor to offer up their parts to restore this girl to a full and natural life. Will you volunteer?
What you have just seen was an illusion created by placing the girl underneath the table. And the only parts that were hers were the leg and the hand. The legs came up through holes cut in the table. The hand was stuck through a hole in a table alongside the operating table. The illusion of the girl breathing was created by the person underneath the table pushing up through another hole on a dummy. The bubbling vat was created by an air tube being stuck in the bottle and bubbled as a girl blew into it. Now the nurse takes us to the next room. We see an old woman sat in a chair with her face down on a table.
This is the girl's mother. But since her daughter lost her head, she's been hitting the bottle and taking a lot of pills. The good news is she stopped tonight. Watch as her spirit leaves her body.
This is another variety of the classic spirit method. Instead of rolling the switches, they were preset to give a ghost-like image. Remember, when doing this effect, the walls, floors, and furniture must be duplicated on both sides of the box to create this effect. They go through a short maze and come out in the execution room. Seated in the electric chair, we see a young man pleading for his life. Their new guide tells them,
"Some people in here can't be trusted. This guy has been convicted of all sorts of heinous and terrible crimes. He even kicked over the garbage cans in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Let's fry him."
The phone rings, and he answers it.
"Execution room?" "Yes, Governor." He's innocent."
The prisoner gasps a sigh of relief. Then the guide says,
"Sorry, Governor, it's too late."
He then hangs up the phone and he says to the crowd,
"Let's fry him."
And the crowd says, "Yeah!" Then he hits the switch and electrocutes the young man. Then we come to a rest area, a room with a door on one side and a mirror on the other. And the guide says,
"Go ahead and fix your makeup, girls. You'll want to look your best for what's to come."
The girl looks in the mirror, and an image of Freddy Krueger appears. So she backs up. The real Freddy pops out of the closet from behind and says, "Welcome to my nightmare." Our third variety of the classic spirit method, we replaced the mirror on the dressing table with a sheet of glass. When the light illuminated the audience, all they could see was their own reflection. When the lights on the dimmers were turned, all they could see was Freddy Krueger. Now we are met by our next guide. Looks like the guide that met us in the first place. And he says,
Okay, where you guys been? I've been looking all over for you. Yeah? Well, you guys gotta stay close to me, alright? It's a piece of cake from here. We're just gonna get on out of here, alright? Uh-oh!
this is usually the most horrifying effect in any haunted house. It may be wise to take special precautions for the safety of your customers. I recommend putting a maze before they exit the haunted house. This will slow them down so they have time to settle down, and also have somebody at the back door just to make sure they leave that building safely. And on the outside back cover of this tape, you will find your instruction manual. Be sure to read it and keep it with you while you're building your haunted house. Like, for instance, a chainsaw. It says, remove the chain from the saw and make sure your plans provide proper ventilation for the fumes that the chainsaw will emit. Each effect you saw in this video is covered in this book. Crazy Carl's Chiropractic Clinic. We'll straighten you out.
Stand by for news.
Good evening. Welcome to the Midnight Update. I'm Vanna Black, and this is Furry Fred. Bald Bob has the night off. He's on vacation.
You know, clubs and organizations always need funds. And they usually sell for mediocre and less than enthusiastic means of acquiring these funds. Let's face it, we've all eaten more than our share of chocolate, and we don't need any more magazines. 9% of a family's income today is spent on entertainment or recreation. And at Halloween, everyone is looking for good old Halloween fun. In recent years, trick-or-treating has sadly become a thing of the past. So as Spanky would say, let's put on a show.
Okay, pay attention. The first rule of thumb is, oh, I hate when I do that stuff. Try to put that thumb back on. All right, the first rule of thumb is start early. Get started today. You can put a haunted house together in just a couple weeks or so, but to be a real success, start early Get started today, and you'll guarantee that success, okay?
Let's talk dollars. Some organizations put on haunted houses just for fun, and the cost is usually paid for by the admission. I'm sure you've read on how much other organizations has made on their haunted house. Well, you could do the same.
Admission tickets range on an average between $2 and $4. Compare local average, quality, and success when you determine your prices. Remember, once the word gets out, quality has a lot to do with it. Attendance will grow if you please your customers. Prepaid tickets sold by bulk to other organizations and companies, such as the Boy Scouts, women's clubs, and local factories for their employees, is a good source to generate early attendance.
Some organizations have phone room telemarketing, what they call the boiler room, where they can reach the public during business hours. So why don't you try this approach?
Hello, Mr. Brown. I'm Scary Mary with the JCs. We're putting on a haunted house as a service to the community by offering positive, worthwhile activities to keep our children safe and off the street. We need your support by sponsoring a room for the haunted house. This will be good advertising to the over 10,000 visitors we expect. Can we count on you for a tax-deductible donation of $250?
Wait for an answer. Hopefully you'll get a yes, but have other options like...
Well, then perhaps you can take a block of 25 tickets so area underprivileged children may participate. Or perhaps you would like a block of tickets for your employees or special customers. We'll invoice you. Thank you.
You may also choose to have your phone room contact individuals during the evening hours with something like this.
Hi, I'm Julie Cooley with the March of Dimes. We've created a sensational haunted house going on through Halloween. We offer a special family pass for $12. May we invoice you? Oh, thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Let's not forget those door-to-door sales for clubs, schools, and the athletic association, and so on. Let's get rid of all those expensive candy sales and all those rotten teeth and bring on haunted house tickets. Printing is another cost that should be eliminated. Call Pepsi or Coke or someone that supplies your refreshments. They should be happy to supply tickets in exchange of putting their trademark on it. If that doesn't work, you can always give them a bulk of tickets for their employees to spice up the deal.
Ticket sales at theaters usually pay for film costs, and their profit is on the concessions. However, a lot of science goes into this marketing. Put your concession right next to your line. The smell of fresh popcorn and people sipping sodas puts the spurs into your appetite.
Do not try to offer a large menu. Keep it basic like a theater menu, such as candy, popcorn, and Cokes. If you use a lot of extra, this means you could lose some of your profit.
If your concession isn't close to the line, use a tray like they use at ball games. This is also good for catching people on their way out. You'll find that your major bottlers loan or rent at small prices portable concession trailers when you buy your supplies from them. Plus, for a novelty and fun, give your products Halloween names like Creepy Cola, Monster Burger, Frankenstein Franks, Ice Cream Sandwich.
Hi, I'm here to show you another aspect of putting on a successful haunted house. You always want to have your novelties. Now these are your glow-in-the-dark teeth. All the kids love them. You'll sell, if they've got 3 kids, you'll sell 3 of them. So if you get one, you get a lot of them, okay? Now here's your t-shirts. These are year-round advertising for your organization. Whatever you decide, you have it printed up. They work real well. Then we have Jason. No Halloween is complete without your Jason mask. Isn't that special? Okay, one thing I do want to tell you though is when you pick what you want, be sure and get enough of what you pick. Okay? Happy Halloween.
The program you create for your haunted house can feature pictures to color, crossword puzzles, and names of sponsors. Coupons for refreshments for a buy one get one free hamburger or pizza afterward. The advertisement should pay for the printing and allow you the opportunity to sell more ads to the local merchants. This will give them a chance to put posters in their windows, and this means more advertising for you.
This is a book that tells you everything on how to produce a successful haunted house. Now, you need one of these books, so go out and buy it. It'll be a great plan to help you organize your whole complete haunted house from end to end. Now, inside the book here, we got a lot of things. First of all, we got these neat little pictures you can put into your program. Right, little crossword puzzles and games for kids. Plus you sell a lot of advertising and so forth to your sponsors. Plus, inside this book, you got all these neat effects and so forth all drawn out for you so you can relate back to it when you're trying to create it. You need this book, so go out and buy it. It'll save you a lot of headache, okay?
It's written by Philip Morris and Dennis Phillips, and it's called How to Operate a Financially Successful Haunted House. Okay? Buy it.
We have only touched on a few of the more common ways to make money. Now it's up to you and your imagination. Start early, organize well, delegate authority, and always set your goals higher each year. Whether it be 10,000 or 100,000, the means are there. It's up to you. Now for you, hairball, be gone!
Okay, listen up. First thing you're going to need is a lot of volunteer help. Yeah, you non-profit organizations, there's plenty of people out there ready to volunteer help out in your haunted house. So, get as many people as you can, organize them real good. They're all off after 6 o'clock at night and your haunted house doesn't start till after that. So you make sure that you get all those volunteers down there. And while you're at it, you call radio stations and the TV stations. You get them down there to help out putting on the haunted house. Besides, that'll help you out to get a little bit of free advertising. Okay, to ensure that you have a successful haunted house, you're going to have to get organized. Yeah, you need some organizational structure. First of all, you're going to need a house chairman. The house chairman, he oversees everything in this haunted house. He's responsible for everything that goes on in this haunted house. It's his responsibility. Now, after him, you have a creative chairman. The creative chairman, he's over the building crew and the promotion department, and they report directly back to this creative chairman. Next, and he reports back up to the house chairman, this creative chairman. Next, we got the business chairman. The business chairman, he's in charge of the secretary and also the tickets takers.
Yes, this business chairman. He's watching over these people. Next, we got, and besides, this guy, he reports all his up to the house chairman. Next, we have in the operation chairman. The operation chairman, he's responsible for things like maintenance and house, the host and the guides and so forth. They guide everybody through. Yeah, the operation chairman. And he directs everything that goes on as far as operations go. Okay, now let's decide what kind of haunted house we're going to put on. We're going to put one on for the big kids, or we're going to put one on for the little kids. If we're going to put one on for the big kids, let's scare the pants off of them. If we're putting one on for the little kids, let's be nice and gentle with them. We don't want no mom kicking the pee-wah-diddly out of us. All right, so we'll be nice and gentle. We don't want kids rolling around on the floor going crazy. So you make up your mind what works best on putting on a successful haunted house by what your audience is going to be. You checked out with the city about the safety and the fire codes and everything else, the zoning and all the rules that the city may imply, and you got to check all these things out first. Then you take that house, you figure it all out, how many square feet, you draw a plan of it. You go ahead and you figure out where your effects are going to be. You figure out where you're going to put how people are going to walk in. Traffic control is real important. You can't have any congestion. You make sure they walk in, everything works smooth. You even pencil out the little footprints as you go through. And you got it all figured out. And the signs, before you drive one nail, you go ahead and put those footprints in. And you walk it all the way through on paper. If it all looks good and it all works out real well, you take it to the organization. If it looks good to the organization, they decide yes, then you run with it, okay? Advertising. We're going to talk about advertising. First thing you got to do is remember, you put it on a haunted house, so make it look like a haunted house. With a big sign up on top of it in orange and black letters saying haunted house, and put it up there way early. Next, you need to contact the media, radio, TV, newspapers. You got to get together with them about PSAs. Yeah, you need to write copy, send it into the stations. Make sure you get it in plenty of time so they can get it all in the newspaper. Now, you go down to a radio station, you make up your own PSA with the spooky music and all the haunted house sounds. Get that all going for you. Get down to the television station, the most effective advertising possible. You get down there and you put together a PSA with them. You be real nice and courteous, and they'll make you a good one. And with all the spooky music, sit down there, graft it out, picture book it out, and you take your time, work with them. Printing, when you put these posters together, you make sure that they're all printed in orange and black. Orange and black spooky stuff. And now, the orange and black business cards you can hand out in free passes and so forth. You put these flyers on the windshield. People will read this stuff because it's orange and black. They know it's fun. It's got to be a haunted house. Let's go. And remember to put expiration dates on all discount and free passes so everyone doesn't show up on Halloween night. After all, these are used to generate early attendance.
Okay, now they've sent something over here that they don't even trust me to talk about. They want me to read it to you, I guess in case I leave anything out. Okay, these have to do with rules pertaining to legal and safety precautions. Number 1. Ask your fire marshal to come and check out your lease space before setting it up. That's not too bad. See, I haven't seen these yet either, so I'm learning along with you. Number 2, be sure to comply with whatever ordinances the fire marshal has suggested. That sounds pretty reasonable. Number 3, check with the city for any permits and licenses needed to operate in this location. Common sense. Number 4, make sure you're covered with liability insurance. If you have an organization, this may already be in effect. Number 5, post your signs. Enter at your own risk. We always have that. No smoking. Okay, number 6. If you are a charity organization, you probably have a tax exemption. If not, register at the tax office for a tax number. Okay, more on the back. Number 7, make sure you have enough fire extinguishers. That sounds right. Number 8, put one person in charge of safety. That's good. Number 9, all your staff should be equipped with flashlights. It does get dark sometimes. Number 10, be sure to use as little cloth as possible. We've been known to do that a lot. But treat all that you use. Well, there's our 10 commandments on safety and precautions.
Formulas we're going to use. These formulas, you treat everything in that house that may have a possibility of burning. Mixture number 1. Mixture number 1 is 1 pound of borax. And you add that borax to 1 pound of sal ammoniac. Yeah, sal ammoniac, that's right. That's the guy, the Italian who escaped from the asylum over there, right? And now we're going to add 3 quarts of water. Yeah, you mixed all these things together. You add a little acetic acid, a couple ounces of that, and nothing, that won't hurt any of your metal products. Mixture number 2 here, mixture number 2 is 10 pounds of ammonium sulfamate, and it's made by DuPont. Okay, you add that to 5 gallons of water. Either formula will work real good, okay? One more thing, the most decisive factor when you're looking for a location is this place going to be easy to find and get to by car? Yeah? Can you find a place to park once you get there? Is it visual from the major highways? You're going to have to take all these things in consideration because the most important thing is your location. If people can find it, they'll get out there, and that'll mean money in your pocket once again. So you do your best to find a good location. If it doesn't meet any of those questions I just asked you, you better reconsider your decision.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
nasty cockroaches.
The Norman Bates Roach Motel. Roaches check in, but they never check out.
And now we're going to recap everything we just told you about.
9% of a family's income today is spent on entertainment or recreation. With this in mind, putting on a haunted house can be very profitable to your organization. Success will be limited only by your effort, work, and initiative. It's nice to sit around and think about doing something, but you have to get started. Start today. Make your haunted house a year-round effort, and there's no limit to your success. The cost for your house is usually paid for through the admission price. Tickets range from $3 to $4 based on quality and attendance. Check around before setting your admission price. Also consider prepaid tickets sold by bulk to clubs, organizations, and companies. These are a good source to generate early attendance. Telemarketing is another way to promote advanced company and family plan tickets. Let's not forget those door-to-door sales. Replace magazine and candy sales with haunted house tickets. The cost of printing your tickets can be eliminated through trading advertising with local merchants. Concessions. Stick with basic theater menu. Popcorn, candy, and soda. And don't forget to try and have your concession close to your line. Another source of revenue for your organization are novelties and masks. Keep it simple, but remember, when you buy in quantity, you get a better price. Programs. The programs you create can have things like advertisements, names of sponsors, coupons, and games. Getting help. You'll need volunteers. First of all, look to your organization. Then try the media. And then go out to the community for their help. Once you have your help, you will need to set up a chain of command. This will consist of a house chairman, a creative chairman, a business chairman, and so on. This will keep everything running as smoothly as possible. You'll need to decide what kind of haunted house you're going to have, whether it's for the big kids or for the little kids. If you're going to have a house for the little kids, you need not to scare them too bad. If you're going to have a haunted house for the big kids, you want to scare them to death. Make them feel like they've got their money's worth out of this. After you have picked your location, you'll need a floor plan. Draw it out on paper. Place effects, hallways, and traffic flow. Have everything planned out on paper before your construction begins. Advertising, commercials, flyers, business cards, public service announcements. All of these can help in advertising your haunted house. Contact your local newspapers, television stations, and radio stations. They might be able to help you in setting up an advertising package. Safety and compliance. Safety ordinances. Check out your ordinances regarding fire, structural, electrical, and food sanitation. Require licenses for your operation. Occupational permits on the state level, on the city level, and on the county level. Check your zoning ordinances of your haunted house. And area use permits. Fire safety. Fire safety is simply that. Some important safety suggestions are: there should be no smoking in your haunted house. All of your ghosts and goblins should have flashlights. You should assign a safety marshal. Have fire extinguishers and have no flammable material. If you have material that is not flame-proof, consider treating it with one of these mixtures. Mixture 1 is 1 pound of borax, 1 pound of sal ammoniac, dissolved in 3 quarts of water, with 3 ounces of acetic acid to protect metals. Mixture 2, 10 pounds of ammonium sulfamate, made by DuPont, dissolved in 5 gallons of water. Location. The 3 most important things to remember in picking your location is that it should be easy to get to, it should have plenty of parking, and it should have good visibility from all the roads and highways. To generate early attendance, use a mailing list, or create one this year by using a suggestion card at the end of your haunted house. These cards with their addresses on them will be sent to them next year with discounts on early attendance to your haunted house. And last but not least, remember, any discount coupons, tickets, and prospectuses should have expiration dates on them so that not all your guests will show up on Halloween night.
This classic that most people didn't even know existed, but we have it right here in our archives, and we're bringing it to you here right now on the Hauntworld channel. So make sure you let us know what you think of the video. Let us know if you want to see more oldies or you want to see more tours of new haunts, how-to videos, whatever. Just let us know. Leave a comment, please. We want to know if you like the videos. And then make sure you subscribe to the page because we plan on keep uploading more and more videos, and we think you're going to really dig them. And so thanks for watching this video, and keep following the channel because we have more classic haunted house videos from the late 1990s, early 2000s, and we're going to be uploading all kinds of new content as well. And make sure you go to hauntworld.com and find a haunted house near you and read our blog because we update it constantly. Until then, happy haunting.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, Hauntworld.com.